welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are doing a tier list, as you can see, but before we get into the tier list, I want to take a few seconds here and just wish every single one of you guys watching this video right now a happy new year, man. 2024 is here. I hope every single goal, dream, aspiration, New Year's resolution that you set for yourself this year, you guys go out and get that shit. Whether your 2023 was good, bad, or indifferent, I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. You got a clean slate, so go get that shit, bro. I believe in every single one of you guys, man, whether it's school, work, fucking social media, anything you're trying to accomplish, go get that shit, bro. And I trust me, you got a friend right here that believes in you 100%. But anyway, today's video is going to be on Real Madrid seasons, obviously a tier list, because obviously we did Barca about a week back, so everybody said do Real Madrid next, so we're doing that today. Same with Barca, we got every season here starting with 08-09 all the way to the current one, the same tiers as Barca, legendary, good, mediocre, and bad, 4 tiers obviously. And the criteria is the same as the one we did for Barca. There's only really one way to judge teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona, which is by trophies. What trophies did you win? And yeah, we're going to look at the season as a whole, competitions, how did you perform in every single one of them. And yeah, this should be really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. I already saw some comments talking about do Chelsea, do Man United, do Liverpool. So I'm going to get to those a little bit later, but I want to start with the two biggest boys right now, the two clubs that I obviously know a lot about because I follow this league very closely. So yeah, we're going to get into this right now. I hope you guys enjoy the video. And yeah, let's start ranking some Real Madrid seasons. Starting off with 08-09, it's going to be in bad. Now, this season, Real Madrid did manage to win one trophy. They won the Spanish Super Cup. But I'll be totally honest with you guys, when I'm making these videos, I put very little weight into the Spanish Super Cup or the Club World Cup or all those trophies because what I'm really valuing here is the big three. The Domestic Cup, the League, and the UCL. And in those three competitions, they underperformed massively. In the League, they lost, they finished second, and lose. They finished second behind Barcelona with 78 points. Barca won the League with 87. So they were nowhere near winning the League. And 78 points is an embarrassing point tally for Real Madrid, especially in this era of La Liga, where there was like you should be racking up over 80 points every league season, especially like I said in this era. So again, and you lose both the Clásicos 6-2. You got embarrassed in the last one in your stadium, and the first one you lost at 2-0, and the Camp Nou or 1-0, I'm pretty sure. But you lost both the Clásicos. In the UCL, you get knocked out in the round of 16 by Liverpool, a Liverpool team that actually wasn't really that bad. Like, that team was not bad at all. It's actually one of the best teams that Steven Gerrard ever played on while he was at Liverpool. 08-09, Liverpool finished second in the Premier League with 86 points, and we're actually pretty close to winning it. I'm pretty sure in that game, in the second leg, they lost 4-1, and I'm pretty sure Torres scored a goal and Gerrard scored a brace, and then I can't remember who scored the second goal, but Gerrard, I'm pretty sure, scored a penalty. I'm almost sure that Gerrard scored a penalty in this game, and Liverpool fans, Real Madrid fans watching this can let me know if I'm wrong, but I remember that pretty vividly. But anyway, I don't know why the fuck I spent so much time on that. The really embarrassing part about this team is what happened in the Copa del Rey. They lost in the round of 32, which if you're not familiar, is the first round of the competition, to a team called Real Unión, 6-6 on aggregate, which by the way must have been a historic tie, but they lost 6-6 on aggregate to a team called Real Unión. I am a big watcher of Spanish football. I'm an avid fan of Spanish football. Okay, I've been watching Spanish football since 2007, which is when I started really getting into football and watching football. I was 6 years old. I've never heard of that team before. And I didn't watch this game because round of 32, Copa del Rey 2009, Real Madrid, I'm not watching that game. So I'm not sure if there's any Real Madrid fans watching this video that can let me know if they watch this game. I'm not sure there's many of you guys, even if you're a diehard, I'm not sure many of you guys actually watch this game. But again, 6-6 on aggregate. And that team, I did some more research, their stadium capacity is 5,000 people. And they're owned, you're never going to guess this by the way, they're owned by Unai Emery. Unai Emery owns this fucking team. Isn't that insane? The current manager at Aston Villa, who like is doing an amazing job, who also managed PSG. I mean, we know who Unai Emery is. He's the actual owner of the team. You can Google it for yourself. Google Real Unión. They're in the 3rd division and they're owned by Unai Emery. And they lost to that team in the round of 32. So again, you lose the league, you don't win the league, you lose in the round of 16, you lose in the round of 32 to a fucking 3rd division team. It's a bad season to me. 2009, 2010, obviously the first season with Ronnie at the club. This one to me is also going to go in bad. Again, no trophies this season. Obviously the previous one, they managed to win the Spanish Super Cup. This year they didn't even manage to win that. So to me, you finished second in the Liga with 96 points. Now you had a way better league season with 96. Obviously Manuel Pellegrini came in and Ronaldo, and there was a bunch of players that came in, Kaká and Xabi Alonso. It was like that new crop that came in. But still, bro, you didn't win the league. And you can ask Liverpool in 2018, I always say this, racking up points and not winning the league, you don't get a medal for that. So you didn't win the league, because obviously Barca finished with 99 points, had a historic La Liga season. In the UCL for the 2nd straight year, actually no, for like the 7th straight year, you get knocked out in the round of 16 again. It was like a dark period for Real Madrid in the UCL, where they just kept getting knocked out super early. Everybody talks about Barca, and me too, I made a whole video about it, but everybody talks about Barca the past 8 years. No one mentions that time for Real Madrid from like 2005, 2004, all the way to 2010, where they could not get out of the round of 16 of the UCL. But anyway, they lose to Lyon, and then in the Copa del Rey, again, in the round of 32, lose to a third division team, Alcorcón. Again, never heard of this team before, 4-1. At least against Real Union, they lost 6-6, so it was like close. They lost on away goals. This time you get spanked 4-1 by a team that I don't even know what the fuck I was gonna say I can't name a single player. I'm not sure anybody watching this can name a single player. They didn't win a single trophy, getting embarrassingly knocked out of 2 competitions. Against Lyon, you have no business losing that tie, and against fucking Alcorcón in the Copa del Rey. It's a bad season to me. 2010-2011 is going to go into mediocre for me. Now, this season, Real Madrid did manage to win a major trophy under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, his first season managing the club. They won the Copa del Rey, that game in the Mestalla against Barcelona with a Cristiano Ronaldo header in extra time. We all know what game I'm talking about. However, in the other 2 competitions, they didn't win it. In the La Liga, they finished with 92 points. Barca finished with 96, so they lost to Barcelona in La Liga, and they also got spanked 5-0 in La Liga against Barcelona. Obviously, we all know that game in the Camp Nou. And in the UCL, again, you lose to Barcelona. This time in the semifinals, Messi scores a brace in the Bernabeu the first leg. Second leg, Pedro scores a goal. Di Maria scores a goal. It ends 1-1. And Barca obviously end up going all the way through to Wembley and winning the whole thing. But again, like I'm sure if you ask Real Madrid fans about this season, it's probably a little bit bittersweet because you beat Barca in a domestic cup final, which is great. But then in the other 2 competitions, you lost to Barca. I mean, they were the ones that knocked you out. Obviously, you can't knock someone out of the league, but they won it over you. So to me, again, you win 1 trophy, the Copa del Rey. But Real Madrid, let's be honest, guys, they play for UCLs, they play for leagues, and this season they didn't manage to win either of those. So for me, it's going to go into mediocre. 2011-2012. It's going to go into good, but I was this close to putting that season in legendary. I rate that Real Madrid team very highly, and I was honestly this close. Like, I was about to put it in legendary, but I can't because the trophy cabinet does not allow me to do that. This season, Real Madrid won the league with 100 points. I mean, one of the most historic La Liga seasons of all time. It was the first team. It was the first time ever in Spanish football that a team got to 100 points. Obviously, Barca did it the next year, but Real Madrid racked up, I think, over 110 goals in this La Liga season, which is fucking ridiculous. That attacking not trio because it was more than a trio, but that attacking front of Ronaldo in his prime, Benzema, Di Maria, Ozil, Higuain. I mean, that was ridiculous. That team was so fucking good. The best counter-attacking team that I've ever seen. And honestly, as a Barca fan, I'm sure other Barca fans can attest to this. From the bottom of my heart, one of the best teams I've ever seen. This Real Madrid team, I feared this Real Madrid team. Now, obviously, they never beat us because they weren't as good as Barcelona, even at that time, because Barca, we beat them 3-1. We handed them one of their 2 losses in the league in December of that year, and we beat them in the Copa del Rey. We knocked them out of that. But still, bro, I mean, this team was that good. In the UCL, they got not embarrassingly, but they got knocked out by Bayern Munich in penalties, which I still can't comprehend to this day how they lost that penalty shootout. I mean, they were just so bad in those penalty shootouts. Ramos was skying penalties, Ramos missing a penalty. It was just really bad. And I actually thought they were the better team in that second leg in the Bernabeu. They deserved to go through, but obviously they didn't go through. And then in the Copa del Rey, like I said, they got knocked out by Barca. But again, 1 trophy, the league with 100 points is really good, so I can't put it in mediocre or bad because that's a historic league season, and that team in terms of talent is fantastic. But it's not legendary because we have other Real Madrid seasons here that were just better in terms of trophy count. And yeah, it's going to go into good. 12-13 is going to go into bad for me. Again, I'm holding Real Madrid to their standard. And this season, they won 1 trophy. And again, it wasn't a significant trophy. They won the Spanish Super Cup against Barcelona, which is great. But no one really cares about Spanish Super Cup. I'm a Barca fan. We've won a lot of them. I don't really ever bring it up when we're talking about like titles or anything because I don't care. And I'm sure Real Madrid fans don't care either. And every other competition, they finished second in La Liga with 85 points. Obviously, Barca won the league with 100. In the Copa del Rey, they lost in the final against Atletico Madrid 2-1 in extra time. One of the most memorable and iconic Copa del Rey finals of all time. I was kind of like a neutral in that game, even though I preferred Atletico Madrid to win, but I was on the edge of my seat watching that game. It was just pure La Liga football at that time. It was amazing. If you haven't gone back and watched that game, go back and watch it. It's truly, I can't, like, words can't describe how good it was. Honestly, a 2-1 scoreline doesn't sound that crazy, but if you go back and watch the highlights of that game, fantastic game. Anyway, in the UCL, they lost in the semifinals to Dortmund, a Dortmund team that they had no business losing to, in my opinion. That Dortmund team, even though they were really good and they ended up making the final, obviously, because they beat Real Madrid, obviously, in the semifinal, duh. But however, that Dortmund team with Lewandowski, young Lewandowski, Jurgen Klopp, Wanderfeller, Marco Reus, who else? Gundogan and I'm forgetting this fucking guy's name. Mario Götze, sorry, I blanked on his name. And Mario Götze, I mean, yes, it's a good team, but they had no business losing to that team. Obviously, Lewandowski scored 4 in the first leg to win that game 4-1, and then Real Madrid actually were pretty close to tying it or like coming back in the second leg, but that obviously was not possible. But again, no significant trophies. It's going to go into bad for me. 13-14, the first legendary season. Obviously, this year Real Madrid won the double. They won the UCL, they won the Copa del Rey, beating 2 of their biggest rivals in both of those competitions. In the Copa del Rey, obviously, they beat Barcelona in the Mestalla, again in Valencia. Holy shit, that stadium, bro. It just has the worst memories for me. Obviously, the game where Gareth Bale skins Mark Bartra on the touchline. We all know that goal. And then, obviously, in the UCL final, they win La Decima, beating their crosstown rivals, or their like derby rivals, obviously. Atletico Madrid 4-1 with that iconic like tying goal from Sergio Ramos in the 93rd minute. This close to losing that game, and they didn't end up losing it. Holy fuck, they didn't end up losing it. I started with D sometimes. Pause. I started with like saying that, but they didn't end up losing it because obviously we know what happened. And then Ronaldo scored a goal in extra time, and Bale scored a goal, and Marcelo scored a goal. In the league, they finished third with 87 points, tied on points with Barcelona, obviously because Barca also had 87, and Atletico Madrid ended up winning the league with 93 or 90 points. I'm not sure, but they weren't that far off of like they were like contending for the league obviously the whole season. And this team was really good, bro. Obviously, you could argue Ronaldo's prime. To me, it was Gareth Bale's best season at Barca, at Real Madrid. Karim Benzema was really good as well. Modric, Querida, Xavi Alonso. I mean, this team was really, really good. Contrao, Marcelo, Pepe, fucking Casillas. We know the team. So yeah, to me, winning a double, it's going to be legendary. 14-15. Bad. Yeah, it's going to go into bad, guys. Again, I don't put that much weight into the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup because when you're Real Madrid and you're winning the UCL, you're going to beat all those teams. You're not going to struggle against Fluminense or against San Lorenzo, who I think they beat that year in the Club World Cup, by the way. You're not going to struggle against these teams, bro. I mean, you're the much better team, so I'm not putting that much stock in that. And also, you should not struggle against the team that won the fucking Europa League. So again, other than that, other than those two small trophies, they didn't win any significant trophies. They didn't win the Copa del Rey, they didn't win the UCL, they didn't win La Liga. Obviously, they finished second to Barcelona in La Liga. Barca finished with 94 points, they finished with 92, so they contended for the league, but they didn't win it. In the UCL, they got knocked out, obviously, in the semifinals against Juventus, a Juve team that was really, really, really good. That Juve team was this close to winning a treble, but obviously didn't win it. And then, obviously, in the Copa del Rey, they lost, I'm pretty sure, to Atletico Madrid, if I'm not mistaken, in the quarterfinals. So for that reason, again, no significant trophies. I gotta put you in bad, man. Again, I'm holding this team like everybody tells me Real Madrid is the greatest club of all time, and I'm not saying I disagree, but your standard is trophies, bro. Winning trophies and winning big trophies at that. And when you don't win big trophies, there's no fucking chance I can put you with the trouble, like with the three-peat winning sides when they won UCLs and they won leagues. So again, it's gonna go into bad. 15-16 to me is gonna go into legendary. Now this season, obviously, Real Madrid won their 11th Champions League, beating Atletico Madrid again. And so this time it wasn't in Lisbon, it was in San Siro in Milano, obviously, and on penalties in that shootout, obviously. They didn't win any other trophy other than that because in the league they finished with 90 points. Barca won the league with 91, but they finished second, and that's a really tight league race, obviously. And in the Copa del Rey, they got knocked out in the round of 32. Not even knocked out, they got disqualified. They couldn't even participate in the competition because I'm pretty sure in that round of 32 game they registered an uneligible player or something. It was some crazy shit that happened. You can go Google it for yourselves. But yeah, again, I mean, it honestly would have been worse if they lost other than they got disqualified. But, you know, you win the UCL. I mean, we all know the UCL is the biggest trophy in Europe, and you're contending for that league title. It's that close. I mean, it's going to be legendary. Let's be honest here. 16-17, no question about it, legendary. To me, this is the greatest Real Madrid team of all time. Now, I think 11-12 was... I just liked watching them play more, but 16-17, in terms of the trophy case, I mean, it backs it up, and this team was ridiculously good. They won the Copa, they didn't win the Copa del Rey, they won the UCL in dominant fashion, scored 20 goals in 7 games in the knockout round, scored 6 past Napoli in the round of 16, scored 6 past Bayern, albeit with offside goals in the quarterfinals, scored 4 past Atletico in the semifinals, and scored 4 past Juventus in the final. 20 goals in 7 games is fucking insane. In the league, they obviously won it with, I'm pretty sure, 93 points, which is a really good league season. That loss to Barca didn't matter in April, so they won the league, which was obviously awesome because Real Madrid aren't really used to winning the league or winning the Copa del Rey. I mean, it's kind of weird, but anyway, in the fucking Copa del Rey, they lost to Celta Vigo in the quarterfinals on away goals, I'm pretty sure. But still, bro, this season to me is historic by Real Madrid. It's one of the greatest teams of all time, and that lineup, I mean, that team as a whole was KCM, Ronaldo in his prime, arguably. I mean, Ronaldo was unstoppable that UCL campaign. Benzema was really good. Bale was really good. Isco, actually, because Bale wasn't really the starter. Isco was really good. Marcelo was fantastic this whole season. Ramos was amazing. I mean, this team is prime. You could argue this is prime Real Madrid. So yeah, to me, it's going to go into legendary. No really any debate about that. 17-18. I might get hate for this, but it's going to go into good. It's going to go into good. This team won the UCL. It was, to me, their least dominant UCL campaign in the 3-peat years, obviously. And it was actually the worst team, in my opinion, as well. Other than that, they didn't win any other trophies. They won the Spanish Super Cup also against Barcelona, but again, I don't value that very highly. This team finished third in La Liga with 74 points, something crazy like that. They lost 6 league games and tied 10. They dropped points in 16 games. They only won 22 league games, which to me is not good enough. And also in the Copa del Rey, you lost to Leganés, I think in the quarterfinals. So 76 points, finishing third in La Liga, and then fucking quarterfinals in the Copa del Rey against Leganés. You win the UCL, which is great, but again, I'm not sure if they win that UCL if Mo Salah doesn't get injured in Kiev. That's just me, though. I'm not trying to be a hater, but that's just what I think. You can obviously disagree if you're a Real Madrid fan. You might think I'm fucking cuckoo, and what the fuck is this guy talking about? That's just my opinion. I mean, Liverpool lose their best player, and they don't win the game. That doesn't really sound that crazy to me. But anyway, it's going to go into good again. Third in the league is not good enough, in my opinion. 76 points is not good enough. Dropping points in 16 games is not good enough. Losing to Leganés, not good enough. UCL is great. but the rest of it is not really that great. 18-19, the first season without Ronaldo. This one to me is going to go into bad. This is Real Madrid only managed to win one trophy, but again, it was a Club World Cup, which, like I said, I don't put much weight into that. They lost the UEFA Super Cup to Atletico Madrid, a legendary game, by the way. In every other competition, though, they finished third in La Liga with 68 points, which is a fucking embarrassing point tally, in my opinion. They obviously lost to Ajax in the UCL semifinal. No, not even semi. What the fuck am I saying? In the UCL round of 16, that team with the Ajax team with obviously Frankie de Jong and Matthijs de Ligt and Ziyech and Onana. I mean, that team was really good. We know how good that team was. They obviously lost in the semifinals on a historic game by Lucas Moura. And then in the Copa del Rey, I think they lost in like the fucking fourth round or something crazy like that, which they didn't contend for the Copa del Rey. They lost to, oh, actually no. Wait, the fuck am I saying? I just remember this. They lost to Barca in the Copa del Rey in the quarters, 4-1. I'm sorry, I cannot believe I just blanked on that. Yeah, 18-19, that was a Messi season. Yeah, that was the Liverpool year. Yeah, they lost to Barca. So you lose to your biggest rivals in the Copa del Rey. Again, no trophies, 68 points in La Liga. That's not a good season, let's be honest here. 19-20 is going to go into good for me, just because anytime I think you win a league title, that's pretty good. That's one of the most important trophies you can win. And they won the league this season with 87 points. They also won the Spanish Super Cup as well, so that's obviously pretty impressive. In the other two competitions, however, in the UCL, they got knocked out by Man City in the round of 16, obviously that COVID year. And then in the Copa del Rey, they lost in the quarterfinals to Real Sociedad, I'm pretty sure. So again, I put a lot of value into the league. I'm not sure how many Real Madrid fans do. I'm pretty sure if you ask most Real Madrid fans about the season, they might be like, put it in mediocre because they don't really care about the league. They only care about the UCL. But I care about the league, and I think winning a league title is pretty significant. So again, winning a Spanish Super Cup, winning the league, you know, you make it to the round of 16 in the UCL. That's good enough for me. So I'm going to put you in good. Actually, no. You know what? Fuck no. This team has no business being in the same tier as the other. Yeah, this one's going to mediocre. I cannot believe I did. When I looked at the other two seasons here, it has no business being in the same tier as those because those teams are fucking historic and this team is not. So yeah, it's going to be mediocre. Fuck your league. 2021, it's going to go into bad. Yeah, another bad season. There's a lot of bad seasons here, but I'm telling you, bro, there's a lot of trophyless seasons here. This season, Real Madrid did not win a single trophy. They finished second in the Liga with 84 points. Obviously, we know that Atletico Madrid ended up winning the whole thing. They lost in the quarterfinals. No, not even, what the fuck am I saying? They lost in the round of 32 again of the Copa Rey to Alcayón or some fucking club like that. Another no-name club, like again, that plays in the third division. It's a trend for these guys. And then in the UCL, as we know, they lost in the semifinals to Chelsea. That Chelsea team that ended up winning the whole thing. They lost 3-1 on aggregate. So yeah, to me, it's just not. I mean, it's a bad season. Let's be honest. No trophies, and you're losing to that fucking team in the Copa Rey. It's not a great season. 21-22, pretty clearly going to go into legendary. Real Madrid this season won the double. They won the league. They won the UCL. They actually maybe won a treble, if you want to say a pseudo treble. Not an actual treble. Not a big boys treble like Barcelona and Inter and Bayern Munich and Man City have. They won their like little version of a treble, you know. They won the Spanish Super Cup as well this season. In the UCL, I mean, we know how dominant that run was. Beating PSG in the round of 16, beating Chelsea in the quarterfinals, beating Man City in the semifinals, beating Liverpool in the final, and being underdogs in all those ties and just coming out, like just being resilient and coming back in all those games. And Karim Benzema was fucking historic, and Vinicius Jr. was amazing, and Luka Modric was fantastic, and Courtois was insanely good, and Toni Kroos was great as well, and David Alaba and Militao and Mendy and all their players were so great. And the league, obviously, they won it because they kind of got a head start from Barca when Barca was dealing with the whole Koeman thing, and then Xavi came in. But still, bro, they won the league, they won the UCL. In the Copa del Rey, they lost who did they lose to? They lost to Atletico Bilbao, I'm pretty sure, in like the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken. I think they lost 1-0, if like memory serves me correctly. But yeah, bro, this team, there's really no much to say. A double, and in the fashion that they won it, to me, honestly, bro, and I don't know if this sounds like, I'm gonna say, because I don't give a fuck, it's my favorite Real Madrid team of all time. Truly, it's my favorite Real Madrid team of all time. I enjoyed watching this team play. That UCL run, even as a guy who wants to see Real Madrid lose every single game that they play in any sport, in any competition, I must say, when they beat Liverpool, I sat back and said, you know what? Good for them. They deserve that. They earned that shit because they, like every single round, the resilience that they showed and just how relentless they were. And it was just magical to watch, honestly, even as a rival fan, a guy who hates the club, honestly. It was amazing to watch. So to me, it's got to go into legendary. No debate about that. 22-23, obviously, last season is going to go into mediocre. Now, a lot of people think this was a down year for Real Madrid, which I think it was as well. But a down year for them is winning the Copa del Rey, finishing second in La Liga, and making a UCL semifinal, as well as winning the Club World Cup and the UEFA Super Cup and all that shit. So to me, you know, like I don't think it was a great season by them. That's why I put it in mediocre. But it wasn't that bad of a season. Now, when you're judging about Real Madrid standards, they don't play for the Copa del Rey. That's the trophy that they at least want to win, and that's why they barely ever win it. Like I'm told apparently by their fans, we don't care about the Copa del Rey. We don't even want to win it. So this season, you know, they won a trophy they didn't even want to win. So they won the Copa del Rey, like I said. In the UCL, we know they got spanked in the second leg by Man City, but that Man City team is one of the greatest teams of all time. treble winning team. And obviously in the league, Barca ended up winning the whole thing because they just had a down La Liga season. Benzema was obviously not as great. He was still good, but he wasn't as great as he was before. And they dealt with a couple of injuries throughout the season that kind of didn't allow them to actually go out and challenge for the league for the whole season, because Barca, let's be honest, they were pretty thoroughly ahead for the whole second half. But yeah, to me, it's going to go into mediocre. Again, Copa del Rey is fine, but it's just not good enough to put it in good or legendary. And then obviously this current season, which we don't know how it's going to end just yet, but so far, I'll be tempted to put it in obviously good. I mean, I can't put it below good. This season has been really good for them. They're number one in the Liga so far. They've been the two teams that they're basically challenging, that they're battling with. Girona and Barcelona, both away from home. They lost to Atletico Madrid, but you know, it happens. In the UCL, they finished with 18 points out of a possible 18. They topped their group against, and they scored some of the most goals in the group stage, along with Man City and obviously Atletico Madrid, with the teams that tallied the most goals in the UCL so far. And they look like one of the best teams in the world right now. They look like one of the favorites to win the UCL. They look like the favorites currently to win La Liga. And, you know, Jude Bellingham's playing like a Ballon d'Or candidate, and their older players are still playing really well, like Modric and Cruz, and their new players, like their new guard of midfielders, Valverde and Camavinga and Tchouaméni are playing fantastic as well. Rodrigo's having a really good season. Ancelotti looks like his best tactically. I mean, the guy's just on a tear right now. He looks like one of the best managers in the world. So to me, it's going to go into good. Well, guys, that is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought I was pretty fair here with Real Madrid. Obviously, I tried to be as unbiased as possible. Obviously, there's a lot of bad seasons here. But again, when you don't win a single trophy in a season, I can't put you above bad. I mean, that's the whole point of playing football, is winning trophies. So to me, I did a pretty good job here. There's a lot of legendary, there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad. But that's football, man. Some seasons you're at the top, some seasons you're at the bottom. And if you go back and watch my Barca tier list, there's also a lot of seasons and bad there. So again, yeah, this is pretty much it. I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.